This is Garrett Fry, the cemetery sequence lead for digital map painting, and we're doing the shot brief for 1250. So let's go ahead and take a look at the shot. It starts off low and starts to pan up. What you're going to be doing as the map painter, you need to add in more dappled light. So you can see the little dappled light shapes that are going on here in the distance, which look great. There's this area right here that doesn't have any of those dappled lights. So go ahead and add in some dappled light shapes. You're going to want to make it interesting and feel like the rest of these dappled lights. So go ahead and replace that, these little areas with dappled lights. And then you're going to want to fill this area like we've done in these other shots. Fill in the areas around here with gravestones. We're not really worried about consistency. We won't look at this particular gravestone that's sitting right here and see that it's not the same gravestone as another shot. So that's not something we need to worry about. But it does need to fill full. Okay, so go ahead and fill up this area with gravestones. And right here, what we're going to want to do is put a gravestone that is kind of embedded into the ground, these flat grave markers. Okay, and so we don't really see this far in other shots, and so you'll want to come down just a little bit so we don't have a continuity issue between the two shots, and then look through the reference, and if you don't find something that is suitable for one of these flat grave markers, go ahead and just take some of the existing standing grave markers and set it on its side and do some map painting magic to integrate it into the ground. So what you will want to do is when you are integrating this into the ground, there's all of these blades of grass that come up here, and you're going to want to make sure that you have blades of grass coming on top of your gravestone, if that makes sense. You don't want to have this like real cut line here, and this also needs to feel like the grass is kind of coming up against this gravestone here. And so if you just chop it right there and then add a couple of grass blades on top, it's not going to feel integrated enough. The grass around the gravestone needs to appear as if it has something right next to it. So if you do have reference of actually a flat gravestone that's the grave marker, then you'll see how much that grave marker actually sits in there. So go ahead, look through the reference library and check that out. You also have a little bit of an opportunity to put something here. However, you don't want to make sure that you're not, detracting from the point of the shot over here. So if you have something way too big over here, then it's not going to look right for the shot. So just make sure that we're keeping the focus of the shot out here in the distance, and that we're not designing this in a way that detracts from that. Also, when you are doing this and adding this dappled light, you can see that there's a little bit of a dappled light here. Go ahead and add a nice piece of dappled light through here. You want to keep it bright, but not too bright. If it's too bright, then this becomes the center of the shot. So add dappled light here on top of your flat gravestone. Before starting out on the shot, it's really important to familiarize yourself with the extensive photo reference in the library. It is worthwhile to do quick map painting concepts so you can start to understand what kind of photography works for what particular situation. Also, make sure you're utilizing the asset library, especially for those shots that require continuity between environments. These assets can be a huge help, and remember that every asset has high-resolution photography, so if the asset is not high enough resolution when rendered, you can overlay it with photography.